Scott Sweeney Sports today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back by myself today. It's time to do some more college football and NFL predictions. Let's get into those right now. First game out, UNLV and San Jose State tomorrow night, 10:30 on 10 o'clock on FS1. UNLV is looking very good. I'll take UNLV on the road to get it done against San Jose State. I think UNLV will probably be the toughest game Boise State's got left on their schedule. So I'll take UNLV on the road over San Jose State. Next up, Wake Forest at Miami. 70 degrees in Miami on Saturday afternoon. I will take Miami. I think the Canes are in desperate need of winning out to get into the college football playoffs. So I'm going to take Miami to get it done at home over Wake Forest. Next up, Ole Miss heading into the swamp to take on Florida, coming off a massive win last week against LSU. I will take Ole Miss, though. I think Ole Miss is a little bit better right now than Florida, so I'll take Ole Miss on the road to get it done against Florida. Next up, SMU heading into Charlottesville, Virginia to take on Virginia. I will take SMU. I think SMU has been probably one of the biggest surprise teams of the entire college football season so far. So I'll take SMU on the road to get it done over Virginia. Next up, Illinois at Rutgers. Should be an interesting game here. I'll take Illinois on the road. I think Illinois has been playing very well recently. This should be a great game. I'll take Illinois on the road over Rutgers. Next up, UMass heading into Athens to take on Georgia. Georgia favored by 42 points. I will take Georgia to get it done at home. I think Georgia's probably in the college football playoff now with two pretty easy wins left against UMass and Georgia Tech next week. So I'll take Georgia at home over UMass. Next up, UTEP on the road at Tennessee. I will take Tennessee. I think Tennessee is much better right now. So I'll take Tennessee to get a much-needed win. They need some help to get into the college football playoff right now, so I'll take the Vols at home over UTEP. Next up, Kentucky heading into Austin to take on Texas. Unfortunately for my buddy Terry Jewell here, I have to take Texas. I think Texas is probably one of the best teams in the country right now, so I'll take Texas at home over Kentucky. Next up, Penn State heading on the road to take on Minnesota. I'll take Penn State. I think Penn State's been playing very, very well so far this season. I think a lot of people are not hyping them up as much as they should, so I'll take Penn State on the road over Minnesota. Next up, BYU and Arizona State. This is probably a playing game for the Big 12 championship game. I'm going to take ASU. I think Arizona State's been playing very well so far this season. I think they've looked a little bit better. And I think BYU's just been skating by all season. I think they got their first dose of reality last week against Kansas, and I think that continues this week. I'll take Arizona State at home to get it done against BYU. Next up, Colorado heading on the road to Kansas City to take on the Kansas Jayhawks at Arrowhead. I will take Deion and Colorado to get the win here. I think the Buffs have been playing very well so far this season. I will take Colorado on the road to get it done against Kansas. Next up, the Citadel heading into Clemson, South Carolina to take on Clemson. No line for this game, no surprise. I'll take Clemson. I think Clemson's going to be angry after losing last week, I think. Another 8-2. I'll take Clemson on the road at home, in my opinion. I think Clemson finds a way to get a win here at home. After a very impressive win last week, I think Clemson keeps it going and gets the win at home over the Citadel. Next up, Wofford heading into Columbia, South Carolina to take on South Carolina. South Carolina coming off a crazy win last week against Missouri. I will take South Carolina at home. I think South Carolina is very good right now, so I'll take South Carolina at home over Wofford. Next up, Missouri heading in to Starkville to take on Mississippi State. I'll take Missouri. I think Missouri's been playing very well recently. Had a tough loss last week in at South Carolina, but I think they bounce back this week. I'll take Missouri on the road to get it done against Mississippi State. Next up, top 20 matchup is Army heading to the Bronx to take on Notre Dame. I'll take the Irish. I think Notre Dame is probably in the college football playoff if they win their last 2 games, and I think they'll do that. So I'll take the Irish to get it done at home in the Bronx in Yankee Stadium against Army. Next up, Boise State heading in to Laramie, Wyoming to take on Wyoming. 50 degrees in Wyoming on Saturday. I will take Boise State. I think Boise's been playing very, very well recently. I think Boise State's probably going to make the college football playoff and then probably lose to either Ohio State or Oregon in the first round of the college football playoff. So I'll take Boise State to get it done over Wyoming. Next up, Alabama heading into Norman, Oklahoma to take on Oklahoma. I will take Alabama. I think Alabama's been playing very well recently. Kalen DeBoer's got this team firing right now, so I'll take Alabama on the road to get it done against Oklahoma. Next up, Texas A&M heading into Auburn to take on Auburn. I will take Texas A&M. I think A&M's been playing very, very well recently. So I'll take Texas A&M to get the win on the road at Auburn. Next up, Iowa State heading in to Salt Lake City, Utah to take on Utah. Utah's going to be in for a lot of different weather the next couple of weeks. They have 45 degrees this week. Probably coming down here to UCF at probably 80 degrees next Friday night. I'll take Iowa State to get the win. I think Iowa State's been playing very well this season, so I'll take Iowa State to end Utah's season and keep them out of a bowl game. So I will take Iowa State to get it done on the road over Utah. 2 games left. The next one up is UCF heading on the road to Morgantown, West Virginia. Should be a massive game. 2 teams looking for a win to get into to go bowling this season. Both teams in desperate need of a victory. Probably the 2 worst coaches in the Big 12 right now, Neil Brown and Gus Malzahn. But I'm going to take UCF to find a way to get out of here with a win. I think a lot of West Virginia fans are actually wanting to lose this game so they can fire Neil Brown. So we'll see what happens. I'll take UCF to find a way to get a win on the road in Morgantown against West Virginia and keep our hopes alive for another bowl game. Next up, the College Game Day game of the week, and also big news, Saturday's going to be their Saturday, so I'm sure a lot of people are upset about this because a lot of people in the Big Ten are very upset that they're getting new games for probably the biggest games of the week. And so it'll be number 5 Indiana heading in to the Horseshoe to take on number 2 Ohio State. This should be an excellent game. I'm going to take Ohio State. I think Ohio State's a much better team right now than Indiana. Indiana's strength of schedule is like 105th, I think. So that's not great. I was hearing Joey Galloway talk on Tuesday night, and he was saying that Indiana should sit their starting quarterback this week so he doesn't get hurt, so they could potentially make the playoffs as a at-large team. Unfortunately for my buddy Kurt Esser, I have to take Ohio State here. I think Ohio State's the better team, and I think that they're at home, so I'll take Ohio State on the road at home over Indiana. And now into the NFL games for the weekend. Starting off tonight, 8:15, Amazon Prime Video, as it'll be the 8-2 Pittsburgh Steelers heading into Cleveland to take on the 2-8 Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston still under center after another rough week last week in New Orleans. We'll take Pittsburgh on the road. I think the Steelers find a way to get a win here. The Steelers have looked very, very good all season ever since they went to Russell Wilson. I think they've looked better than what they did with Justin Fields. So I'll take the Steelers on the road over the Browns. Next up, now into the Sunday afternoon games, since it'll be the 8-2 Minnesota Vikings heading into Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears. I will take the Vikings. I think the Vikings are playing better. They've been looking good. I think Sam Darnold's been playing decently this year, and the Bears just seem to find ways to lose games every single week. You guys could have helped out a lot of teams last week with that win against Green Bay, but you guys got that kick blocked in the last seconds. So I'll take the Vikings on the road over the Bears. Next up, the Detroit Lions heading on the road to take on the Indianapolis Colts. I believe Anthony Richardson is starting again this week after that nice win they got last week against the Jets. But I'm going to take the Lions on the road. I think Jared Goff bounced back last week after those 5 interceptions he threw against Houston. He bounced back last week with a 42-13 win against the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. So I will take the Lions on the road to get it done against Colts. Next up, the New England Patriots heading into Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are on a 2-game win streak with Tua back under center. I think the Dolphins are poised now for a potential playoff run, so I'll take the Dolphins at home to get it done against the Patriots. Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading into New York, MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Football Giants. The Bucs always struggle in New York. I don't know what it is about that stadium where the Bucs just never play well. But I think this is the week we keep it going. Baker Mayfield bounces back after a rough 3-game stretch where we've had heartbreaking losses the last 3 weeks. I think we bounce back this week. Mike Evans is supposed to be back this week. We got some defense coming back. I think the Buccaneers find a way to get a win here on the road against Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants. Next up, the 3-7 Dallas Cowboys heading in to Washington to take on the Washington Commanders. It would be so nice to see Dallas win this game to help out some of the wildcard teams in the NFC. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. I'll take Washington at home. I think the Commanders played decently on Thursday night against last Thursday against Philly. Could not find a way to get a win there, but this weekend they bounce back. I'll take the Commanders at home over the Cowboys. Next up, the now 9-1 Kansas City Chiefs after that loss on Sunday to Buffalo, as they head into Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. I will take the Kansas City Chiefs to get the win here. I think the Chiefs are bouncing back this week. I think Patrick Mahomes is upset about last week, and I think they're going to bounce back this week and get a win on the road over the Panthers. Next up, the 2-8 Tennessee Titans heading into Houston to take on C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. I'm going to take the Texans. I think Houston's been playing better the last couple of weeks. So I'll take the Texans at home to get it done over the Titans. Next up, the Denver Broncos heading in to Las Vegas and Allegiant Stadium to take on the 2-8 Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to go with Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos to get the win here. I think Bo looked very good last week against Atlanta. I think he keeps that going this week. I'll take the Broncos to get the win on the road in Vegas against the Raiders. Next up, the San Francisco 49ers coming off a heartbreaking loss last week to Seattle as they head in to Lambeau Field to take on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. 41 degrees at Lambeau on Sunday. I'm going to go with the 49ers, though. I think Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy. I think the 49ers find a way to get a much-needed win this week in a very crowded NFC West with how stacked this division is right now. I'll take Brock Purdy and the Niners to get the win on the road over the Packers. Next up, the 6-4 Arizona Cardinals leading the way in the NFC West as they take on the 5-5 Seattle Seahawks. 50 degrees in Seattle and probably raining in Seattle on Sunday. 50 degrees is a little cold, but I think Kyler Murray will find a way to get a win here. I think Marvin Harrison's used to this cold weather, was playing at Ohio State last year. So I think Arizona finds a way to get a win on the road in Seattle against the Seahawks. Now into Sunday Night Football. Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles heading in to SoFi Stadium to take on the LA Rams. I will take Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Hurts has been playing very well recently. They're getting Saquon involved with 2 touchdowns last week. I wish that would have helped me in fantasy last week, but it unfortunately didn't help me out with a win last week. I'll take the Eagles on the road to get it done against the Rams. And back-to-back nights of games in SoFi, it'll be back into Monday Night Football, it'll be Lamar Action Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens heading into SoFi Stadium to take on Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh, and the LA Chargers. Should be an excellent game here. But I'm going to say Baltimore. I think the Ravens have been playing much better recently. Wasn't too impressed with the Chargers last week after letting the Bengals come back and keep that game close. But I'll take Baltimore on the road to get it done against the Chargers. And just saying, for all you fantasy fans, all the bye weeks this week are the Falcons, the Bills, the Bengals, the Saints, the Jets, and the Jags. So that means probably no Josh Allen this week. That means no Drake London this week. No no Jamar Chase this week. No Joe Burrow. No T. Higgins. No Alvin Kamara. So that will do it for this episode of Scott's Swinging Sports next week. Sorry, I'm still a little under the weather. Still coughing a little bit after that sickness I had a few weeks ago. But I'll be back next Wednesday probably with my episode of Scott's Swinging Sports right before Thanksgiving. So I'll see you guys right back here next week on Scott's Swinging Sports. See you later, guys.